Okay, so we're back. It's the next morning and that's all glued and the end looks nice. You want that to be nice and tightly glued with some good glue because that's sharp and you don't want that coming off. So yeah, that's all glued. So it's nice and sturdy. And your little broach pin there. So you can fasten and unfasten. So, tell me I've used the faulty one. No, that's it. There we go. Yeah. Just a bit stiff because it's new. So yeah, that's it done. And I'll show you what I'm going to do on the edge. I've got this butterfly here. The reason I'm going to show you on this one is because I've got two techniques here. I'm going to zoom in. I don't know if you can see that. On the edge here, it looks quite frilly until it gets to here. And then it changes to where there's no, you can see the difference, a bit of a frill here and no frill here. So this has got 3 beads added in like a little picot at the top. And this is just 1 bead all the way around, which gives it a neat line, which is the same as I did on that flower brooch that I showed you in the first, in part 1. So we're probably going to use, on the top of the umbrella here, I'm probably going to use this technique. So it's got a little bit of a pink frill, and on the bottoms here I shall probably do this technique. So I'm going to be showing you two techniques in the one piece of work. So I thought I'd just point that out. Yeah, that's a little butterfly I made, and you can see that's got the bigger cup chain around it, so it's a bit bulkier. So right, so that's what we're going to do next. So everything should be glued solid, and doesn't bend, it doesn't, but it's still really lightweight for the size it is. It's really quite light, but it's nice and flat look, which is why I use that embroidery ring, because it tends to, as you're working, as you're putting the beads on, it sort of tightens up and it will curl and bend. So that's why I use the embroidery ring. Some things don't bend so much, but it depends how much beads you're getting on there, I guess. So yeah, right, we're going to move on and start doing the stitches around the edge. So whichever thread of your choice, I think I'm just going to use the fire line, £6 fire line, and my size 10 beading needle, and whichever 11 seed beads of your choice that match your piece of work. Okay. Also, one more thing before we get started. I don't know if you can see, I'm such a perfectionist. This is a nice straight line here, and this one's got a slight kink here. There. But if you do have anything like that, don't worry. When you come to add these beads down the side, and when I get to this bit, as I add my beads, when I get to that bit, I'll just go that slightly bit deeper in on the fabric and pinch it with the beads, and that will push it up into place, and it'll sit completely straight like that, because they're just slightly tipping to the side where we want them to stand up straight like that. So if you have got any slightly wonky bits, you can fix that when we add the edge. So that'll make it squidge in a bit like that when I sew the edge on. And the same with this little bead here that keeps floating out of place. It keeps coming out from under the flower where I've done it so tight. The stitches are tight, so it's pushing it. I will fix that when I put the beads here. I'll put an extra stitch in that, and then I'll do it nice and tight to the bottom so it pushes it up. So yeah, if you have got a slight, see the slight kink here, it's not perfectly straight, but it'll be like that. I'll just pinch it in. So if you have got a slight wonky bit and it's not quite perfect, don't worry, we can sort that out when we add the trim. Just thought I'd point that out because you can see it's got a funny shaped piece in there. Right, anyway, let's crack on. Someone's trying to get in on the action here. He knows I'm making a video, don't you? This goopy little eye look. You need to clean your eyeballs. Trying to get in on all the action. What are you like? That's my dog. He's sitting behind me on the couch, trying to get in on the action. Okay, so what we're going to do is this trim. You can see it, the pink, and then on the back you've got your tiny little stitches where it's gone through the back. And that neatens off the edge so you can't see any of this fabric here. On this side, not at all. So I'm going to show you how to go around the corner, but I'm also going to show you how to start off. But I thought, instead of showing you, which is really quite fiddly in the beads to start with, I'll actually show you how it's done on this sample piece. So what you're going to do is you're going to put a little knot in the end of your thread and just pretend these are your 2 layers of fabric. You're going to start off by going through one of your pieces like so, just one. Oop, did that too hard. Through one, and you got your little knot there, and tuck it in like that, like so. So your fabrics, your threads coming up there. What you're going to do is pick up 2 of your seed beads, and then you're going to go in through the back, out through the front, without wrapping your needle up in your thread. I've gone through the thread. Pierce through that thread, right, so you're going to go through the back and through the front, like so, without getting tangled like me. Goodness sake. Oh, I've done it again. Oh dear. Goodness me. Right, so then you're going to pull it through so the beads sit side by side like so, and then you're going to come back up this second bead like so, and give it a little tug. And you're going to take your next seed bead. This time you're only going to use 1 at a time. Now this bead's going to be a bit loose until we get to the very end, because when we work round, say this is our umbrella, we go around our whole piece and come back, we'll end up here, and then we adjoin that one to that one at that time, so we'll straighten it up. So for now it's not going to sit very straight. That's fine, so just kind of get it in place. We're going to take our second bead, we're going to do the same thing, go through the back and then through the front, and then up and through that bead that we've just added, back up through, can't see what the heck I'm doing here, back up through the bottom, and then up like so. Can you see how they're now sitting? Don't worry about the first one, because we're joining them across the top like that to make them sit like this. But this one is only joined to here, it's not joined to one on the other side, so it's not going to sit correctly till we join it to the other side and pull it into place. So don't worry about that first bead, just worry about these ones. That one will straighten up afterwards. And I'm going to take another bead, I'm going to go through the back, through the front, and then up through that bead, like so. It starts to straighten out after a while, and don't forget this is just a piece of soft fabric, so it won't sit as firmly as it does on here, because you've got the beads, row of beads here to kind of make it sit in place. But I just wanted you to see what I'm doing without all these little beads in the way, so you know exactly what's going on. It's much easier here, clearer to show you on this. So again, through the back, through the front, without tangling up on your fabric, and then that just pops up into place, then go up underneath. Once you've joined a few, they sort of hold each other in place, so it gets neater, and like I say, that one we'll deal with at the end. So just keep going like that basically. I decided not to do the 3 picot bit because I thought that might be a bit much, so I've just done it like this. I'm just going to do probably the 1 stitch all the way around, but so So that's all we're going to do, like that, all the way around, and you see how that covers up your fabric so you can't see the gap. It just covers it nicely. So you're going to be doing that all the way around. So I'm going to work around the corner and show you working around the corner. If you wanted to do the picot, you would simply pick up, I'll move it over to as if we're starting here, move it away. You'd pick up 3 to start with, 1, 2, 3, go from the back to the front, and then you would, oh for goodness sake, pull them down like so, and then you would have your picot. Back up through the last bead, and it would sit like so. And then this time from here on in you only add 2. So the first time you add 3, and then there on after you add 2. Same with this one, you add 2 to begin with, there on after you add 1. So through the back of both of your fabrics, sorry, back of one and the front of the other rather, make sure you go through both. I don't know if I have done. Then you would pull that down and go back up through the 1 bead at the end. And that would form your little picots. So just pop that one up like that and pull it into place like so. And you see that little picot forming, and then you'd do another 2, same again, through the back, up through that bead, and then you have a little row of picots which stands up a lot more fancy than this one. So, oops. And the same again, you would fasten that into place at the end, that very first bead. But this is, we're just going to use this 1 stitch. So you're just picking up, you're starting with the 2 and then picking up 1 each time. So I'm going to carry on here. So yeah, you would just start, you can start at any point as well. I've started in the middle. You can see that one's a bit loose. That's the one that's not tacked down like the one on our sample piece here. That's a bit wonky, and that will straighten up at the end. So I've started here, but you can start here, here, and anywhere you like. But don't start on a corner or an edge. Start in the middle somewhere so that you can fasten this bead. When you come to the end, you're going to go across through here and then join that one to the bead preceding it. So just start in the middle somewhere. I'm just going to go around this corner to show you how it works with the beads in the scenario. So you've started off by adding 2 beads the first time, and then coming back up through this bead, and then each time after that 1 bead at a time. So we're just adding 1, and then yep, that's what the backs looks like. Quite neat. Tried to make it quite neat. Anyway, make sure you're going through in a similar sort of a spot than you were the last time, like so, and then up without going through your beads. So you've got to make sure you go behind your beads like that. Don't go under the beads. Make sure the beads are underneath your needle. You don't want to go through the beads and have them joining into your top piece. So just through like that, and then back up just like we did in the sample piece. And if you've forgotten, just go back and watch the sample piece. If you forget how the beginning is, and then add another one. And the same again, and if you have to, you can see where this flower is going to be in the way here. You can just pull it with your fingernail to get the beads out of your way. Just pull it forward. however you want to do it. So you go through the back, up through the blue felt without going through any of your beads. Oops, got caught in my brolly handle, and now I've got caught on the end. There we go. And through, back through that bead, underneath. You will have to be careful not to tangle, because with all these beads it's so easy to get caught up on something. So we're just going to keep going like this. Up and under, like so. And then under there. And give it a little pull. So you can see how that gives a lovely, neat edge all the way down, nice and straight. And then there's the back. Obviously you see a little bit of the pink stitches, but you're not going to be looking at the back, are you? It's going to be something you only see when you put it on. So, and then just keep going all the way to that point on the end, and just keep going, and those beads will just sit in place. So one there, give it a little tug, not too hard because you want to rip at it, but don't want to tear your fabrics or anything. Now we're going to go under this very point here to make sure it comes out directly under that crystal. Just hold that bead in place like so, and then come up and under the bead. Try not to tangle there. And there we go. I think the picot with the 3 would have been a little bit too much on the edge. Might be nice on the bottom as a frill, actually. Might look nice on the bottom. I think it would have been a bit much on the top. Don't know, should we give it a go, or should we just carry on? Yeah, no, let's carry on like this. I think it'll be too much, to be honest. So one more, and then through this edge. Make sure we go far enough in on the black, up and under, without going through any of your beads. And then we just keep going like that all the way around until we've covered the whole brooch. And you want to put it nice and tight so it goes in line with your pattern, like so. So when it's upright, there's that little trim. Put it slightly under, look, underneath your work, like so. And then just keep going and follow your line. Whoops, 1, not 2. I was on the picot for a minute there. So through there, without going through any beads. And just keep going like that. Oops. Yeah, just keep going. And now I've tangled up my thread. Don't tangle your thread. And then kind of pull your bead down as you're pulling your thread up, so it pulls everything into place nice and tight like that. Like so. when it's down. See? Don't see any of your fabric. It's a nice neat line all the way around. So just keep going like that. I'll come back to you when we get to this piece, because you've got to navigate around your stem, and this is where I've got my loose piece, and this might happen to you at some point, so I'll show you how to fix that so that it doesn't, while you're on the fly sort of thing. So, because that doesn't look right, look. It's not the same as the others. So I'll correct that when I go around the post. So when I get to the post, I'll come back to you and show you how I get around the post and how I'm going to correct that bit. And I'll also come back and show you how I can pinch that bit in a bit. And then at the very end, we'll come back and show you how to fasten that last bit off and how to fasten off your thread. And then that's all there is to it. So just going to keep going with my trim here. Yeah, and I will meet you back here when we get to the umbrella handle. So we can go up and under and pinch that fabric in. Don't pull it too tight before you've gone up and under, or else you'll have trouble wiggling up under your bead, like I just did. So yeah, and do watch out not to tangle up in all your beads. Thread there. Pull that tight. There you go, that's better. And then yeah, just keep going like that all the way around until you come to the end, really. But if you want to stick around and see how to navigate around the post, you know, if you're confident just to go on to the end now, obviously you can skip the rest and yeah, carry on. But there might be some other little tips along the way that you might miss if you do. So I'd recommend watch to the end and you won't miss anything. So there's always something that comes along throughout the project that I can, you know, get to mention. Right, so there you go. You're going to go around it like that. See how pretty that looks now it's finished off. A big difference from seeing it with just the fabric sticking out. It looks so much more finished, doesn't it? And then from this underneath, it's got that lovely finished look and no fabric to be seen anywhere. So lovely jubbly. And a nice neat line, look how it comes out. So yeah, just carry on like that. And I'll come back, like I say, when we get to the post, because I need to correct this, and it might happen to you, so you'll then know how to do it. And then I'll come back also when we get up to here and show you how to straighten out that last end bead and join it in, and how to end off your thread. And then basically that will be it, we'll be done. So yeah, right, see you in a bit, guys. Happy beading. Meet you at the other, well, at here, and then at the other end. Okay, see you in a bit. Happy beading. Just going to show you it from this angle so you can see how really different, that looks when it's finished off with the trim. Massive difference, isn't it? And then turn it around that way. That way, yeah, look at the difference. Such a difference in it between the two halves. It just looks a lot more finished, doesn't it? It looks much nicer. Yeah. So next we just got to get around that post bit. So we'll do that bit next. Alright. Don't know if you can see, but I've forced that bead into place. Just pushed it where I want it to be. So hopefully it'll stay there until I get to it. So we just get almost to that point. Yeah, I mean, if you've made beaded jewellery before, then you'll be familiar with this. It's basically a ladder stitch. So So if you know ladder stitch, obviously you'd be a bit more confident to steam ahead. If you don't, yeah. And the same with Pico, if you've made beaded jewellery, right, I'm going to go through this bead and hopefully be able to push it so that it will stay there. If not, I might have to put a little stitch through the bead. So I'm going to start off down here. I'm just going to go a little bit deeper behind that bead than I did on the others. Right there, and hopefully it's going to hold it in place. And push it up there. If it doesn't hold it, I'll give it a little stitch. I might give it a little stitch anyway, just to be sure it's not going to float around. Right up through there. Hopefully. Oops, don't want to get tangled there. Do be careful not to wrap your thread around any of your beads because it's going to pull your beads into the wrong place. Let's see, does that hold it? Yeah, that's just going to hold it just fine, look. What I did was instead of just coming directly through, I came up a little bit behind the bead that was crooked. So now when I pull that, see how it forces it into place? And that will sit nice now, and then it's just got this bit at the end, perfect. So that's all you need to do is get that needle right up behind that loose bead, if you have any loose beads anyway. And then we've got to go around the post, so I'm gonna go as tight as I can to this middle point, and then go a bit of an angle up through like that. Just get the thread out of the way and pull. I like to come around this side, even though it's in the middle, so just force it round like that, and then back up your bead. Make sure you put your fingernail over that bead and make sure you don't tangle around it. That's one. And then instead of going around the back there, because you don't want your thread to show, look, come around the front of the post. Oops. Oh my goodness. Right. Come around the front of the post, don't go around the back. Go behind there like that. And then pick up your bead. And again, really close into that point, near enough the same place at the back. Like so. And then up to that middle point there. Making sure you catch two bits of fabric, like so. I'm just going to put my fingernail over that bead, just so I don't tangle it in, and then pop that up into place, like so. Hold that bead. There we go. And you can see it's gone around the post. And it's pushed that bead up, and we'll do the same here when we go under this bead that looks slightly wonky. We'll just go deeper down so it's coming up right behind that bead, really behind it, and then at an angle, and then slide it back out, so it's going to force that bead. You're really just essentially making that one a bit tighter, like I did with this one. That crystal was poking out from under the flower and hanging out, and I've just shoved it with that bead there, you see. So that's how, if you've got something wonky, that's how you fix it. Right, and then just keep going until we get to the end. Okay, we're coming really close to the end now. So, I'm going to take a bead, carry on like we have been. Oops. making sure to get up under the right side there. It's just basically ladder stitch, so if you've done beading, you might find it a bit easier. Same with the picot, it's just a picot but through the fabric. So, yeah, well. Up and under. In front of my little post there, and we've got one more space for one more bead. Look, maybe I should zoom. Can you zoom in a bit there? And we've just got space for one more bead. Just beaded in front of the post. So I'm going to put one more bead. Oops, not down too low like that. A little bit fiddly, but there we go. There's the bead. Come here, bead. There we go. And then what am I doing here? Back up through your bead. And then where we fix this one, down through that one. And that would join that one in nicely with that one. There we go, round your post. And then I'm going to go back up this one. I'm not going to go through any fabric, I'm just going to go up through that bead there. Don't tangle on any of your beads at the last minute. There. And then I'm going to go back down the one that I came up before it. And then I'm going to come up through some of the beads behind, through the fabric like so. You can see the top now finished. Right, and then what I'm going to do is come down into this work, and then I'm going to try and find some beads to go through. So right here, I'm coming out with those beads. You don't want any thread to show. So I'm going to try and go down through one of these beads here, one of these pearls. If I can find the hole, there we go. I don't know how many I'm going to get through, but however many you can get through. I've got through two there, look. Or was it one? Yeah, two. Two of the pearls from when I originally stitched. See how that just disappears. And then I'm going to go under the bridge, the thread bridge where I originally stitched to my fabric. Like so. Without going through any fabrics, any threads cut loose. It's going to be fiddly and tight, but you should be able to do it. No, I'm not going to be able to do it there. Yes, I am. Right, I'll go down through a few more. You need to find a spot where you can tie a knot. Well, not necessarily, I mean you don't have to. Well, there you go, that's gone down through the beads, behind the rest of the beads and out the end, so that will do. As long as you've got no thread showing. There you go. And then go behind that thread bridge there and make a little knot. And then do another little knot Really just make this bit up as you go along, weave through whatever beads you can, or any bits of fabric you can without your thread showing, just so you can tie off a couple of knots. Tie a bit of knot in that thread there. And then I'm going to go in through the back here, between the beads. I'm going to bring it up. See what, oh, come out the other end, there you go. Behind all the beads, so no thread shows. So you've gone down through these beads, out through the edge, made some knots, back up through. And I'm going to cut it off there because I don't think we need to do any more. There we go, voila. One. You can take your thread zapper, or you can use, see you've got that tiny bit there sticking out the thread. Either use your thread zapper, or like and just melt that away. And there you go, one finished brooch. And obviously, the finished piece, you're not going to be looking at it magnified. It's going to be sitting on a nice bit of fabric on a coat, or hang on, I'll show you what it will look like. Coat sitting here. So just to see what it looks like on a lovely piece of fabric, because that's how you're going to appreciate your brooch. It's going to be like on the collar of your coat, or how pretty does that look? There you go, absolutely gorgeous. It's going to look lovely on the collar of a jacket or whatever. Yeah, lovely. So there you go, that's your brooch all finished. You've got something beautiful to wear. And if you made it to the end, well done. Well done, well done. And like I say, if you wanted to do the other stitch, you would simply add 2 at the beginning and then make your little picot 3, the same as you'd make a picot in your beaded jewellery making. But we'll cover that stitch in another project sometime as well. So there you go, there is your finished item. Thanks for watching, have a great day. Do subscribe, hit the like button, it all helps with the algorithm. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye. Before I finish, I hope that was, I've just realised it was a little bit out of frame there on the end, but all I did was put my needle down the beads, and then I couldn't get the knot to tie across the thread bridge, it's too tight with the glue. So I went all the way down, and then I poked it between the fabrics, so the needle's gone down underneath this layer and come out here. And I've done the same when I went back. Put my needle in, and I just basically poked the needle between the 2 layers, so it went under the beaded layer and came out between the fabrics at the top. So that was all I did there. I just went a bit out of frame, sorry about that. But yeah, it just you can, wherever you end up, you know, it depends where you start, just try and come down some of your beads and then get your thread to tuck between the 2 layers of fabric and out the other end, or any way you can weave up and down your beads without your thread showing. Basically, you just don't want any thread showing at the end. Look at that burn. I was filling up my hot water bottle and I scalded my hand. Yeah, it's because the kettle's a bit too heavy. My other hand's a bit decrepit, so I found it hard to hold the kettle. But yeah, I thought I'd explain that because when I was putting the video together, I realised that I'd gone out of frame for that last bit. All I did was go down the beads and then wedge my needle between the 2 layers and come out of here. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Have a great day, happy beading. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it's all clear. If you've got any questions, just pop your question in the comment section and I will get back to you and answer them. So see you all soon for another tutorial of something beautiful beaded. Have a great day. Bye everyone.